Welcome to Fringe Fanatics with Chad Lee and Chris Zane.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. It is episode 119 of Fringe Fanatics. I am Chris Zane.
And I'm Chad Lee. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, thank you guys for tuning in as always. We're here. It's the end of the season. It's over.
It's finally over.
It is finally over.
Yep.
A little, sad for one of us. Is okay for the other, but here we are,
onward and
upward.
Yep,
that's all you can do, man.
Oh yeah,
you just keep trudging along.
Yeah.
But yes, the Super Bowl happened this weekend. We'll get into it a little bit later, but there's been other news. We're getting ready for the breaks in both. Well, the NHL is on a break, and the NBA is coming up on their break. I believe the Nuggets' last game is tomorrow, and then they are officially on the break for the All-Star game. Yay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I noticed the schedule because I thought the Lakers game might be the first that I'm going to is the first one back. But
so you are going to that one?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know if we confirmed
Yeah,
that.
I guess I never confirmed that last week. She told me that was a possibility, and then I brought it up to Hannah, and then I basically spent the rest of the night talking her into it. So
sometimes you got to.
Didn't really have to twist her arm too much.
Well, that's good. It should be a good time nonetheless.
But yeah, I was wondering if that was their first game back from the All-Star game, and they get the Blazers first. So that's like a perfect warm-up game.
Little warm-up
Oh,
game,
maybe
yeah.
it's the Hornets. I take that back. I think it's the Hornets. So yeah, it'll be nice that they kind of get a little warm-up before the Lakers, because the Lakers are pretty hot right now.
And they did get a center finally. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
Not a groundbreaking center by any means, but they got a center. But let's get into our weekends. We'll kind of stay away from Sunday, and we'll get into that in the football, the NFL breakdown.
Yep.
So we'll do Friday and Saturday.
All right.
How were those days for you?
Friday was a good time. We got some Jersey Mikes, and then we watched that new Kieran Culkin movie that was up for a bunch of Oscars.
The one with him and
Jesse Eisenberg.
Yes, and they're like brothers or
No,
friends?
they're cousins.
Oh, cousins.
Yeah, and it was written and produced by Jesse Eisenberg. It's a pretty good movie. It was, just Kieran Culkin almost kind of playing his character from Succession. Just really wacky and hard to predict. Just
I never got into that show.
Yeah,
never watched it.
A really good one, man. Definitely worth
out.
watching. Then we just kind of got a lot of relaxing in Friday night. Had an awesome Jersey Mikes, and Saturday was a blast, man. We went to go watch Ari Matty. He is a comedian that's famous for being on Kill Tony, and the couple openers before that was really good. Got it there.
Yeah, no, I was about to fall over here.
Yeah,
got it figured. There's no good place under these tables. We need to do something. Yeah. Anyways, Ari Matty, you went and saw him. Comedy Works, South or Denver?
Downtown.
Downtown.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I bought the VIP tickets, so he was pretty much where the door was. So he was doing a lot of looking at Hannah, and she was just like blushing and just doing all these.
Did he say anything to you?
No, he never.
He didn't get included.
He didn't really.
No
the
crowd
only
work.
crowd work he did was. It's so crazy at Comedy Works. They actually have VIP tickets that's almost like behind the wall, almost like at a stadium where you get tickets behind
I've
a
seen
pillar.
those. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Like, why would you sell those tickets? And so I think he tried to include those guys by just kind of talking to them a little bit. But then, did it fall? Oh, it did. Man,
it's okay. It's okay. Keep going.
Take a pause?
No, go.
All right. Yeah, so before that, we went and had dinner at P.F. Chang's, so that was pretty good. But I'm starting
Did you get the orange chicken?
No, I got the Chang's chicken. It's like their version of General's House chicken. And
General Chang's.
Yeah. Oh, man. Just hold the mic the whole time.
I'm just going to hold it, yeah. All right, I got to move it back. I thought I was securing it more before we started, but clearly I didn't.
Yeah.
But that's cool, though. So Comedy Works, and then what'd you do after? I mean, that was pretty much the most
we
of
went
your
to the
night.
Passport again.
What is the Passport?
Yeah, it's just a bar right over off of Larimer Street, I believe. Something like that. One of those.
Okay.
Yeah. We've been trying to do like a nightcap so that we're not boring and just go straight home.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah, and it's a pretty cool bar. It's got some darts in there and a pool table.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Always play some good music.
That is cool.
Yep. But
I'm going to try and get this through while I tell you about my days.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Friday didn't do too much, just kind of laid back. I had to go get my work vehicle worked on. So I'm without that for the next couple days. The radiator
Oh shit.
got a little leak happening.
That's no good.
Doing that for the time being. So I've got the Buick tonight, but Friday I went and took it in. We thought they fixed the original thing. I don't know what it is with me and cars, man. I'm beginning to think maybe I should just get a bike. Probably do well from a midsection too. But took it in, got it fixed, and then it ends up that wasn't what needed to be fixed. There was something else. So it's the whole radiator. So that was what I did Friday, was basically take the car over there to find out that it was gonna get fixed, only to still be broken. So didn't do too much Friday night. We've been really trying to knock out the shows, we're pretty much, I think we got to the end of season 2 of it's falling again, of Shrinking.
Yeah.
So we I think now we're just waiting for season 3, right?
That's
it's
great,
not out,
yeah.
right?
No. The season 2 is the one that just came out recently. So
Okay, so we're caught up there.
Another year.
And I think we got, I can't remember for sure, but we might be up to season 2, the end of season 2. Oh, we finished season 1 of Silo.
Nice.
So
yeah. We were talking with some friends at Don's, and one of our friends said that season 2 really sucks of Silo. So I'm a little nervous. I'm hoping it's maybe just their opinion, but we shall see, because I like that show a lot.
I mean, so far, the way season 1 ended, you're like, oh, dang, that's pretty wild. So we'll see. But
we got to keep going on it then.
Yeah, other than that, we kind of worked and stuff this weekend. I worked a little bit on Saturday trying to get caught up because I left early on Friday to get the car worked on and all that stuff. So it's been a little bit of a busy week, but it's still been pretty good. Finally finished Cinna as well.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you got all the way through that.
Yeah, I'm just kind of, I've been, dude, it's crazy. I kind of bounce around. I've got like ADD when it comes to like my own shows. She's been, and I'm glad she's finally found like another, like one of her own shows, and it's Yellow Jackets.
Oh yeah, Meryl was saying we should watch that, and I was like, it looks kind of cool, but I don't really know what's going on. It kind of reminds me of Lost, but I don't know.
Not so much in a sense. I guess like what happens is like there's this plane. I guess it does involve a little bit of loss where there's a plane crash, and then they end up like eating each other and stuff like that. It gets like really morbid and everything.
Nice,
but I've got like so many of my own shows, and her and I have a bunch of our own shows.
We got our shows, your
like, you know what?
Her shows.
You keep this for yourself. You just watch this.
Yeah, every once in a while, Meryl's like, do you care about this show? And I'll just be like, no, just watch it. It's just like my mental capacity is working at its peak capacity right now.
Sports and all of our shows.
Sports shows, everything else.
Yeah, I'm on like the second episode of Cinna. I'm on like the 4th episode of Landman, and then I just saw that they've come out with more. I think it's 1923 episodes, so I need to start that
the
one.
Like prequel or the midquel, because there's 18 something.
Right? Yep.
So
we got to start that one.
Yeah. Other than that, that's about it, man. It was pretty laid back weekend, and now we've got the snow coming. Snow's here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool
for the next 2 days.
Man. It's been slow as hell at work. It sucks, man.
Yeah, I bet that was one thing that sucked about the wintertime there. You're just like
it's
trying. It's really hard to make the day go by. There's only so much you can do.
Working on podcast notes.
Yeah, there you go. Shh, don't say that. They're gonna catch you.
It's all good. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, let's get into headlines. We do have a guest this week.
Basketball guest.
Yes, Mr. Ben Garcia from the Locked On Suns podcast. We'll have him on talking about a little bit of trade deadline stuff, little action or lack thereof for the Suns, and some other things. That's going to be at 6:15. So in about an hour, we're probably going to get the majority of the show done by then. So we might be ending on the interview. We'll see.
The Super Bowl will just take a couple minutes. We'll just breeze over that.
Yeah, I bet you wanted to do it, right? I was going to let you have the floor and vent,
It's all good.
Well, let's get into the headlines.
Alrighty.
Headlines! Get your headlines here!
How about we cover all the other NFL news, and then we'll finish up with the Super Bowl?
All right, yeah, let's do it. Cool. Kellen Moore has basically accepted the terms to become the new head coach of the Saints.
Yep.
Which I was surprised. I thought I heard something, and maybe this was just, clickbait headlines. But I thought I thought I saw something that said they were going to run it back.
Oh, really?
Maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of money will make you change your mind.
I was asking Blair on Saturday about that, and he said, "Yeah, it's pretty much a done deal." And yeah, just they pretty much waiting to announce it until after the Super Bowl.
That's kind of what I figured.
Yep.
And then you have something here about the Pro Bowl solution, which
man.
I do like, but I don't know if they're going to go for
no.
the.
I just had to mention it because it was just such a great idea, but they never would do it.
No.
But I was going to try to provide a few logical arguing points for it because it is so nuts. But let's just get to it. So it was actually Cleveland Sports Talk. Ron, right?
Yeah.
So his page shared this, and I had to retweet it because I just found because everybody hated the Pro Bowl. They've been hating it for the last 2 years. That it's just a joke.
Yeah.
And so. What's the best solution for it? Maybe we just give these guys the title of you're an all-star. You don't have, we don't need to worry about alternates or anything like that. Here's your blue ribbon. But that week before the Super Bowl, we used that week to replace the Pro Bowl with the game where you basically take the two worst teams to play for the first pick in the draft, which this year would be the Browns and the Titans.
Yeah.
I think that's a fabulous idea because you don't have teams that will really shoot to tank. It's like, okay, now you got this. You're the two worst teams. Play for it, and whoever wins gets that first pick.
Yeah, I do like it. It's way better than the lottery that happens in the NHL and the NBA.
Because then you got 5 or 6 teams that are tanking, and you really have there's a lot of separation. The cream rises to the top, and then you got the playoff time, and then you got the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
And then because in the NBA, basically the All-Star and in the NHL, the All-Star break is 2/3 into the season. It's a sprint to the end, and those teams at the bottom of the barrel are shooting for the draft, and then the opposite. So kind of makes some boring games. I mean, dude, I've kind of realized over these last few games with Jokic and the Nuggets where they're playing horrible teams, Jokic is only playing 3 quarters. My parlays for him are not hitting at all.
Because he's usually sitting by the third quarter. It is unfortunate in the betting world when the guy you're betting on's out by the third quarter. But
as a fan,
he might be the most efficient player ever at this point because
he's
getting triple doubles, and he's like, I'm going to take the fourth quarter off.
That's insane. He had 40 points in 7 and 8 in 3 quarters last night.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Man.
But in other news. It sounds like, I guess all reports, we've already kind of known that Aaron Rodgers was not returning to the Jets, but now we heard that there were stipulations involved as to whether or not he could come back, and those stipulations were no more Pat McAfee.
Yep.
You must attend every team function. You are no longer allowed to miss training camp. Just basically
be a normal NFL player.
You got to be an NFL player. I mean, I know most quarterbacks do get that, golden boy treatment, so to speak, but none of them have taken advantage of it as much as Aaron Rodgers has, with just I was in Egypt for training camp,
on a retreat or something.
And right now, the odds-on favorite to land Aaron Rodgers,
crazy.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Isn't that nuts? I never would have expected that.
It's between Pittsburgh, the Raiders, and the Saints right now.
Oh, the Raiders. Bring them in. Please.
Yeah,
I would love to back him constantly. That would be awesome.
It would be pretty fun to have Rodgers in here. That'd be a wild AFC
Working for
West.
Pete Carroll, too.
Yeah.
I would never see that go
Either
on.
way, I mean, going over there to Mike Tomlin, that's not going to be a cakewalk for him either.
No.
He's not going to be able to do anything.
I mean, he doesn't get along with anybody.
No.
It's just not going to work.
He hates his own brother.
Yeah.
He hates his own family.
I mean, I will say what I could take out of that docu-series or whatever,
that was kind of watch it.
That was kind of merited. His brothers kind of
they kind of threw him under the bus.
They kind of did him dirty, But hey, everybody's got arguments with their family. We all do, and you work past it. You work past it. You need to not talk to him for years and years. It's like, come on, man.
Exactly.
So that would be nice to see him as a Steeler.
Yeah, it would be.
Yep.
Would be really nice.
In other news, looks like the boycott did not work, and all those people were bluffing. The Super Bowl was the most watched ever at 126 million U.S. domestically.
Well, now there's even new numbers on the homepage of ESPN, 127.7 million.
Okay.
So it's even gone up. That literally happened. I looked at it this morning and it was still 126. So they found a million, 0.1 somewhere.
What I want to know is globally, because I bet globally it has to be 400 or 500 million, you would think.
You would think. I don't really know, though. I mean, you would expect that a lot of people still watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the
To
Super
give
Bowl.
people kind of like a context for that, the AFC Championship,
It was 40 something, wasn't it?
56.
Oh, 56.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Still insane. We kind of knew that. I feel like anymore nowadays, it's like the next Super Bowl is going to be the most watched Super Bowl.
Oh,
You
that's
know what I
bizarre,
mean?
right? So, there's more TVs.
I've never understood the Nielsen rating. Like, who are they? Are they just like asking a average amount, like a certain amount of people, and then basing an average off of that? Like,
What do you mean
I don't know.
asking?
I don't know, because the Nielsen ratings, I thought they used to poll people back in the day, like to who, like what they were watching. Obviously now with the, interwebs and stuff, there's probably a lot more quicker way to do that. But it always does seem kind of like, where did they just find 1.1 million since this morning? You know what I mean? It just seems kind of like loosey-goosey numbers.
Oh, that's just based on like, talk shows and stuff like that. The ratings,
But even with all the streaming and stuff, I don't even know how they
it's just like, how they can kind of tell how many people are watching Jimmy Kimmel and stuff like that. It's basically kind of like the cable networks, Dish Network and all that kind of all, and especially like the advertisers and stuff, like they just kind of, they want to know. And so I can't remember, there's like an acronym for it, like the FCC or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that kind of like will give those numbers.
They better.
They
better
tune in,
get her figured out.
But yep, that's how they figure it out.
Also, in other news, Nevada won a state record $22.1 million on the Super Bowl, thanks to the upset produced by the Eagles.
The Chiefs were the underdog.
Yeah, I know, but I think a lot of people are still betting on them to win towards the end there.
Oh wow!
So yeah, they won a record.
I think it was
22.1 million on that.
It moved to the Eagles as we were 1.5 underdogs.
Yeah, it says the 22.1 million tops the 19.7 million the sportsbooks won on Super Bowl 48 when the Seattle Seahawks whooped up on the Broncos.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, that's all the news on the outside of the Super Bowl. I guess let's get into it.
Hell yeah, man.
Let's do it. I guess we could have hit the NFL thing, but we'll hit it right now.
Yep.
Why not?
Let's do it.
Are you ready for some football?
Yes, the big game has come and gone. It was not as good of a game as we could have hoped for. Unfortunately,
Yeah, it was kind of one of those situations where it's one of these times where I really hate to say that I was right, because at the beginning of the year, and you saw it with my notebook and everything like that, I went all in on the Eagles.
Yep.
I knew they were going to be good, and they were really good. I drafted the Eagles defense. We saw what happened. I drafted Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts. I think in one league I even drafted Dallas Goedert, and man, that was a really good team.
It was really good, and we talked about it last week with Eric from the Philly podcast. He even said probably the greatest offseason acquisition this year was Vic Fangio, and boy, did he show out at the Super Bowl.
Yep. Yeah.
They did not rush at all.
Nope.
No rush. They sent the same four guys. Well, not the same. They sent four guys every time, basically. Never sent more than that. It is the fourth just the fourth defense to not blitz in a game in the next gen stats era. So yeah, they generated 16 pressures, sacked Mahomes 6 times, most in his career. They played zone coverage on all but 2 dropbacks, specifically using cover 4 on almost 60% of the dropbacks. Third highest rate by any defense in a game since 2018. And Vic Fangio's defense held Mahomes to his second worst performance by EPA in a game in his career, minus 19.3.
Probably the first was the Tampa Bay game.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
Probably.
I mean, it just points to, the next bullet point we got right here, which is like, that's just going to be, it's got to be Veach's main focus this offseason. Like he's had a lot of home runs with his draft picks, but the Kingsley Suamatia left tackle that he drafted last draft, and then 2 years ago drafting Wanya Morris were total whiffs.
Yeah.
Those guys, he expected him to step in. They even started Kingsley like the very first game of the year. That did not work. And going into that game with a patchwork offensive line with Joe Tooney out there going up against Josh Sweat, Mike Caliendo was just getting his ass whooped every time. I mean, they were double, triple teaming Jalen Carter, and then everybody else was able to try to like get through to him. And it was a mixture of many different things where Mahomes was starting to feel the pressure, so he would start to leave the pocket early, even if it was a clean pocket, and then when you start to see your best player like that get worried and start to have a bad game, it's almost contagious. Like it really is, to where wide receivers were dropping balls, the blocking was bad by the tight ends, everything was falling apart.
Yeah, there's that one drop by DeAndre where he was wide open, and I was like, oh, something is wrong.
I was like, wow, man.
I had a feeling after that first drive, I was like, they don't look right. Yeah. And then once that Cooper DeJean pick happened, I was like, this game's over.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, that's it.
Dude, and, I'll say it, I said it right afterwards when I made a post about it that, I'll be a Chiefs fan forever, and there's no doubt about that. But, like, even at halftime, I placed a $10 bet on them to win the money line at plus 1,200. It would have just like paid 120, but it's like, hey, they came back 24 down against the Texans in the playoff game one time. It was a completely different squad. And I knew it was a long shot, especially by the way, we had 23 yards going into the half. It almost makes me puke just saying that. But when we came out after the half and just kind of basically went 3-9, I know they had like 2 sacks and just weren't able to do anything. I was like, yep, that game's over.
Yeah, it was wild. It was like the first time. The first Super Bowl was bad, but this one was just like, whoa. And it's not all Mahomes' fault by any means. He was just trying to do what he could, and the offensive line, like you said, was in shambles. And now coming into next year, this is the big question. You brought up Brett Veach. They've got 20 free agents heading into 25. Well, and it's going to be tough to keep all of them, unfortunately.
Yeah. News came out today that Mahomes is already in talks to restructure his contract because I think he really sees. I mean, if you really go back to like week 2, you got to take into he's got to take responsibility that he really put the team in this position. Yeah, they got the number 1 seed. He was the one that caused Rashee Rice to tear his.
He did kind of take him out.
Yeah, it wasn't his ACL. I can't remember which ligament it was. It was like a really odd one. It was like not
the PCL or something.
Yeah, it wasn't that either. It was like a different one that was it was a strange one. But either way, he had to have knee surgery, and it was still a serious one. It was an accident, of course, but if you don't throw an interception, that never happens. Yeah, it is like the butterfly effect. You never know. I mean, maybe Rashee Rice just tears his ACL on next one or something. Who knows? But then you look at his play in the Super Bowl. He's got to take responsibility for that. So
he did too. I mean, I'll give him credit. Yeah. The one thing I didn't like was Travis Kelce just kind of I mean, I know he did the interview at his locker, but he didn't go do the post game presser like Mahomes did. Like Mahomes took every single question that was asked of him. Kelce just kind of took him at his locker, and that was it. Which I get, dude. You're bummed, but it is kind of your responsibility to go do the post game stuff.
Well, I mean, I don't really blame him because that's probably his last game, and to go out like that has got to be demoralizing.
It did kind of seem that way. That's one thing I wanted to bring up, what your thoughts were on that, because seeing him walk off the field, I was like, that looks like a guy who just had his heart ripped out in what's going to be his last NFL game.
He's got a $19 million cap hit, which is going to be the highest for a tight end next year. And if you were to rank the tight ends,
restructure, he didn't get 100 receptions this year. He was under 100 receptions, and he didn't get 1,000 yards. And it's like you can't pay someone $19 million for that.
And how slow he is. I mean, you would think that he's got to take that sacrifice and be like, if I sign with the team again, I'm going to be holding him back.
Yeah.
Noah Gray has played really good. They could maybe go try to get a trade for a guy like Kyle Pitts or somebody like that. Like, they need speed there. And what Brett Veach should take from the Super Bowl is size wins football games, man.
Yeah.
When they showed that graphic of the average size of the Eagles,
they're like that's 6'6" and like
340. Yeah. Like that's the Monstars, man.
Yeah,
that's
pretty
what
much.
You need. And then you have 5 first rounders there on the D line. Like, how is Howie doing this, man? Is he just conjuring up draft picks?
I mean, his run right now probably. I mean, Brett Veach is going to go in for sure too, but Howie Roseman officially sealed the deal on him being, Hall of Fame GM with this run that they've been on.
Well, the way they're voting in Hall of Famers anymore, it might take 30 years.
You
because
could.
they are getting picky, man. They actually did restructure how they are voting, and I don't quite understand it, but the only 4 made it this year.
Yeah.
And, there used to be, well, we're going to try to get a certain amount of the older players in and then a certain amount of the newer players in. Now they've lumped in coaches, GMs, and everybody into like one pool. And so the selection is getting a lot harder to get. Luke Kuechly should have got it maybe this year. That would have been a great. Torrey Holt.
Yeah. I mean, the Eli was on the fence to me.
Oh,
I think he's going to go in, but first round, I'm like, I don't know.
No, he definitely should have made it first. And then, so, this was Luke Kuechly's first year of eligibility, so he should be the first one in next year.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing with him is just all regular season stuff for the most. Well, I mean, he did have this. I'm lying. He did have the Super Bowl, but yeah.
But I mean, you look at his numbers, like he's like a Brian Urlacher, like he's just
played on a
dominant.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was.
But hey, one bright spot, man, Xavier Worthy. Yeah, dude, I was in the Uber on the way home because she wanted to leave after the third quarter.
Yeah, what did he have, like 140 yards?
157, dude.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I didn't even realize that was the total till today.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to look at it or anything. But
I mean, unfortunately, a lot of it was in garbage time, so to speak, because like the third quarter, like in the third quarter, like I started to Google, I was like, I don't think anybody's ever been shut out in the Super Bowl before.
No.
And I was like, that's possible at the rate they're going.
It was awful, man. I mean, we didn't cross midfield until the second minute of the third quarter. It's just completely embarrassing. They just really didn't show up. And, I got to speak on just how they kind of like handled it. I hated seeing Kansas City at Union Station put up these like decorations of three-peat, and get it, how like every city like lights up their
like
buildings.
Talking about how they already talked to Pat Riley and stuff. It's bad juju, so to speak.
Horrible.
Yeah.
And then one of the Eagles players even said, he was like, they were talking about all that three-peat stuff. We were like, that's trash. We're going to smash that. Like that's, to me, when I watch Man in the Arena with the Tom Brady, this is exactly what this reminded me of. I believe it was the Eagles Super Bowl or one of them. I can't remember which one because there's fucking so many. But there was a team they played where they found out in the newspaper that opposing team was already planning their parade route. And that's kind of normal. You got to do that for city regulations and shit.
You got to pull permits.
Yeah, but that's bulletin board material.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, like I was so pissed that Kansas City did that, and then on Friday night, I see that Travis and Patrick went out to dinner with Taylor and Brittany. It's like, dude, you're going up against the number one defense. You should not be like, oh, we're just going to go have dinner like it's a regular night. You should be in your like hotel room studying the playbook, getting ready. Like, I just don't feel like they took this as serious, and it's just a complete embarrassment.
It sucks, man. I had to watch one of these, Super Bowl 48. We brought it up a little bit earlier. It's a bummer when you're like, oh man, like all this for like literally like the first quarter, you're like, this is over.
Wow, yeah. That is the biggest saving grace from this.
I don't know when you felt that it was over. I'm sure you probably had a little bit more faith in that.
Yeah, definitely the Cooper DeJean pick. But yeah, I mean, that I was just praying because I was really watching the score, but I was like, this better not be worse than the Broncos and Seattle Super Bowl because that would just be so bad.
I think it cracked the list of worst beats. It's top 5 now, I think.
It's definitely up there. Luckily, the garbage time points helped out a lot.
They did.
Yeah, I mean, because I was trying to remember, what was the final score of the Seattle one? It was like 50-something.
No, it was 40.
They didn't put up 50?
No, it was like 46-8, I think. I tried to forget about it, but...
I don't blame you, man. Yeah.
It's much like this one,
Yeah. But so Xavier Worthy
43-8.
43-8. Oh wow, I thought they put up more. Okay. Well, then the other
they
Super Bowl,
probably could have.
I think the worst one is the one with John Elway and the Niners, right?
Yeah, we got a few of them.
Yeah.
Let's just look at it. Let's see worst Super Bowl beats.
It's a bummer. But yeah, I mean, Xavier Worthy really stepped up, and him getting Rashee Rice back next year is going to be awesome. Really hoping Hollywood will re-sign.
Oh yeah, we got the number one, the Broncos. That would be in 1990, 55-10 against the 49ers.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Number 2, the 86 Bears, 85-86, 46-10 over the Patriots. The number 3 is the Cowboys over the Bills, 52-17 in 93. Number 4, the Broncos are on here 3 times.
Oh, shit.
Hey, but you got to get there to get beat bad.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Broncos, that would be 43-8, and then the Broncos 42-10 against the Washington Redskins at the time. See, I thought they got up there. They're in the top 10 with that one though. I thought it was top 5, but I must have misheard.
Yeah. And that's one reason I wasn't too upset. I was actually in a pretty good mood throughout. I was really bummed, but I wasn't gonna just, we had a couple customers that are Chiefs fans, and he was talking about how he wanted to destroy his TV and stuff. I'm like, dude, you need to get a life. Get a life.
It's not worth that much. Like, I'll be mad and I'll be bummed for like a day or two, but then it's just like, well, it's fucking.
They just won 2.
Yeah.
Okay, we can let them have their turn, and they made it further than any other team in 3 years.
Yeah, they've been on a hell of a run. Now they got start over, unfortunately. I mean, they can continue, but
yeah. And the other thing too is like Josh Allen wasn't there, Joe Burrow wasn't there, and Lamar wasn't there. So I felt good about that.
That's
man.
true.
So
and yeah, I mean, what does that say about them though?
I got to be there while Kendrick played, so that was fucking cool.
Oh, I didn't even watch that.
What?
I went over to my brother's to check out his remodeled house.
Oh, yeah, because he lives close, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was okay. I mean, it was cool. I've been watching all these crazy conspiracy theories about all the symbology in it and stuff. And
those aren't conspiracy theories.
Well,
that's
yeah.
like really Kendrick's fucking smart, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't. It's to be surprising to me to let the NFL let something like that happen. Like they had to have known about all that stuff. And now I've heard that there's actual possibility with Drake already suing Kendrick for the song. The fact that Fox and the NFL allowed it to be played, they can now be sued by Drake.
They're not gonna win. You know what's gonna happen is the judge is gonna be like, "All right, in this ruling." And then he's going to start dancing. And
he's going to start sea-walking.
He's going to
hit the Serena.
Man. Yeah, Serena was out there, his ex-girlfriend, man. Yeah. It was great.
Say Drake. And he smiles. Say Drake. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't my most favorite Super Bowl halftime show, but, it was cool.
To each their own. That's what I always say.
I'm not a big Kendrick fan, though. Like, I know, 2 of his songs. That Stay Humble song, I know.
That's a good one. Yeah. He's probably... I'd say my favorite rapper, and then J. Cole, Rakim, Eminem, and then Isaiah Rashad, maybe.
I'm more of a riff-raff man myself. But it did crack me up, though, like the dichotomy of that halftime show and the 2 goofy Stop Hate Snoop Dogg Tom Brady commercials, and then the entire halftime show is about hate on Drake.
But that's just it, man. It's not. It's so much further than hate on Drake. It's what Drake kind of represents.
I understand, but it's just funny that
Drake kind of feeds into this whole Diddy thing, using these black artists as puppets and stuff. It's so much deeper than that, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. I guess
until we see something actually happen to Drake, it's like all of it's hearsay at this point.
Yeah, you never know, but
because I haven't seen anything other than what Kendrick has said. Nothing's ever been brought on Drake. You know what I mean?
No,
he's not in court or anything.
No, but you could definitely Google, and there's some weird photos out there,
I'm sure.
And stuff like that. It is pretty cool though. I did see this reel today. I had to share it. It was all these people that were mad. I couldn't understand what he was saying, and then it was also white people, and it's Pearl Jam being like, it's all right, bro. Or there's so many death metal bands or hardcore metal. I can't understand
what they're saying. Those aren't the
saying.
people bitching about it. It's the middle-aged white folk that are like, I don't understand this rap music.
That's great. But hey, you know what? It was nice because we did leave. So that's what I was kind of finishing is I was in the Uber and he threw that bomb to Worthy and I busted up laughing. I was like, where was this all year? Mm-hmm. We had one bomb to Worthy all year long. And it came in week 2 against the Chargers. And it finally happened.
It was a hell of a throw.
Yo, it was great. A hell of a catch, too. He had 2 guys on him. But it's just, goddamn. But, we got home in a decent time. And I wasn't super hungover. I wasn't super tired. And it's all good. You know what? What I kept saying, too, and everybody was like, how you feeling? I was like, I'm good. We just won the last 2. But the thing is, too, what I kept saying, it's 100% Nuggets season now.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
all Nuggets, all Avs for me.
Yep.
Been that way for a little bit though, but
That's true.
Longer than it was last year though. So I got a little bit of I got to sniff the playoffs. So that was fun.
Speaking of that, we could probably cover the penalty box real quick before he. If we
Do you want to do daily dogs or penalty box?
Yep, let's do daily dogs. I forgot about that.
Okay. The rest of the stuff we're just gonna fly through. I mean, after Slick Rick. Oh, I was like, what the hell, Slick Rick?
Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah, I thought we were talking about the rapper. Speaking of rappers, all right, let's get into the daily dogs.
Daily.
You take yours first.
All right. I picked Mr. Pat Spencer. I don't know, probably not too many people know about this gentleman. He is recognized as one of the greatest lacrosse players in NCAA history. I believe. Let me see here. The 4-year starter had an illustrious career with the Loyola Greyhounds, winning the Tewaaraton Award, which is the equivalent to the Heisman Trophy during a season in 2019. The attackman still sets and holds records for the most career assists, 231 in NCAA Division I men's lacrosse history. He was then selected to play in the 2019 Premier Lacrosse League draft. But after dominating on the turf for 4 years, he wanted to get his turn on the hardwood. He then worked his way up and took on an opportunity to play basketball at Northwestern to use up some of his remaining college eligibility. And now he has made his way all the way on to the Golden State Warriors and is getting playing time this last week. And it's pretty incredible to see him just be like, I've already dominated lacrosse. Like, I can go play pro lacrosse and make no money, or I can go and give it a damn whirl and try and play basketball, which he did a little bit in college. The 6'3" guard averaged 10.4 points per game in Big Ten basketball. He never competed in high school. He started 29 of 31 games, and he averaged 4 rebounds and 4 assists. But yeah, pretty wild. He basically took a flyer, went and played in a couple other leagues before getting a 2-way contract with the Warriors, and he finally debuted. And he got some points in his first game. He signed a 2-way contract with the Warriors on February 22nd, 2024. And he's making it happen. He's appeared in 6 games this season so far, and it's pretty surprising, honestly.
It sure is.
Career high 17 points, going 7 of 12 for the field on January 10th. So pretty incredible, honestly.
Yeah,
I saw this story as I thought it could be a DDOE, but then I was like, I don't really have anything for the daily dog, but that is my daily dog right there, Mr. Pat Spencer.
Daily.
Oh, a multi-talented athlete there.
Yeah, nothing like being like, I'm going to just go play basketball. Yeah, I haven't really played that much, but here we go.
Yeah.
So you have chosen
Brandon Graham, the defensive end for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Look at that.
Stepped back in this game. That's how noble I am. I will choose an Eagles player because
graceful,
this is
even in losing.
Yep. This is a pretty cool story here. I mean, the guy thought it was like week 9, said his season was done with a torn tricep or bicep, right? One of those. Hurt his arm. Then was able to make it back, activated on Saturday, made it back to play in the game. I don't have his stats here. I tried to look it up on NFL Pro, but nothing came up. The dude, it's just, I just want to talk about how amazing it is, because this is probably his last game. He was really thinking that when he got hurt for the end of the season, that's probably it. Been in the league for 14 years now. The dude is a legend defensive end, and to be able to come back and play in this game and his team win, he's a dog, man.
Yeah. I was trying to see if I could find out what he got in the game, but I can't see anything either.
I know.
But yeah.
Because I know I figured what they did is just kind of put him in there in a few plays. I feel like I saw him in there on a good handful of them.
Yeah, so it says he had a goal of playing 15 seasons in the NFL and entered year 15 in 2024 with the expectation this would be his final season. He played well and then tore his triceps on November 24th. And at that time, Graham declared that the season was over, but just 11 weeks after that injury, Graham miraculously suited up and played 13 defensive snaps in Super Bowl licks.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that is crazy, man.
It's pretty cool.
I don't know if he actually logged anything. You think they would have said that in there, but
but hey,
either
got
way,
on the field.
Gone out there
Yep.
and did something and won himself a Super Bowl in his final year. What a way to go out.
Well, when I saw that he was activated too, and I'm sure that it didn't take much more for the Eagles to get motivated, but I was a little worried when I saw that he was activated because, Nolan Smith and Josh Sweat, those guys, to see a veteran like that be able to come back and play that game, they wanted to win it for him. So
Yeah.
I think that's pretty badass.
That is cool.
Yep.
Well, let's hit the penalty box real quick. We'll get out of that one because there's only two things I wanted to cover real quick, but then we'll get into our interview. So here we go. Well, we've got a little bit of a pause here in the NHL as they are at the first of the Four Nations face-offs.
How long will you keep me in the penalty box?
How long? That will be held February 12th through the 20th in Montreal and Boston. That's going to include teams of NHL players from Finland, Sweden, and Canada, and the United States competing in a round-robin tournament. Each team will consist of 13 forwards, 7 defensemen, and 3 goalies. This will be the first best-on-best tournament since the World Cup of Hockey in 2016 in Toronto. So it starts Wednesday. You can watch Canada versus Sweden. It's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard. You can watch it on Max, True TV, TNT, SN Network. And then Thursday, you've got United States versus Finland, also at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Yeah, that one's going to be on ESPN, ESPN Plus. And then Saturday, you have Finland versus Sweden, and then United States versus Canada. Finland versus Sweden is going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and United States versus Canada at 8 p.m. And then they will continue on a Monday, and then Thursday, you have the championship game, and that one's going to be at 8 p.m. on both ESPN and ESPN Plus. And then we have a little bit of extra news here because Mr. Alex Ovechkin,
Yep.
he has scored 2 more goals.
Ovechkin watch commence. Only 16 goals away now.
Yes, he is at 879. He is 16 shy of the record of 894, as Chad just said.
Yep.
And let's go into the standings real quick here as we are at a pause. So I'll take the Eastern Conference. In the Atlantic Division, we have the Florida Panthers sitting at 35 wins, 20 losses, 71 points. In the Metropolitan Division, leading that division is the Washington Capitals. Speak of the Devils, or speak of the Capitals, if you will. They are sitting at 36 wins, 11 losses, and 80 points. And Chad, take over the Western Conference. Why don't you?
Got it. Winnipeg Jets at 39 wins and 14 losses and 81 points. Is that the most points in the league? I believe
It is.
So they are playing really good hockey. And then in the Pacific Division, you got the Edmonton Oilers, who the Nuggets are, the Avs just beat. I think it was Saturday, right?
Yep.
34-17 and 72 points. And that will round out the Western Conference.
Yes, it will. So yeah, we'll see how this Four Nations thing plays out. It is a little weird that they don't have the Czechs or the Russians. I
know, that's what I was
a lot
wondering.
of good players.
A lot of
there.
Russian players.
They're
right?
not letting the Russians do too much right now. They're on timeout from like the Olympics and all kinds of stuff. So no Russians, no Czechs. So we're getting the Finns, the Swedes, the Canadians, and the United Statesias. So we'll see.
So what happens if you're a Russian player and you're like one of the best in the league? Are you just not an all-star?
I think they still do the all-star stuff. You're just not in the Four Nation thing's just the countries.
Wow.
I'm not entirely sure when the NHL All-Star game is.
Is this not
this is
the
not
All-Star
the
game?
All-Star game. Oh, there is no All-Star game.
That's what I thought. This was just replacing the All-Star game.
Oh. All right. You were absolutely right. I was mistaken. That's what I was wondering. I was like, it's already like 2/3 of the way through the season.
Yeah.
When is an All-Star break going to
I
happen?
remember they announced this last year, and I was like, damn, this is going to be nuts.
So yeah, that's weird. I guess is there just not going to be like you're not an All-Star this year?
Dude, if you're Russian, you're screwed, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are there NHL All-Stars this year? That's super confusing. But we got to get on the phone here shortly.
Yes, indeed.
This year.
We got Ben Garcia coming on. He's also a Cardinals insider as well.
Ooh, yes. Cardinals.
Yep.
The Cardinals. All right. We will get him on the phone right
Let's do it.
now.
And they have a game tonight, too. They got another matchup against the Grizzlies.
The Grizzlies.
That was
the
my
Grizzles.
high school mascot was the Grizzlies.
Yeah, we were Zeus because we were the lightning.
You were what?
We had our mascot was Zeus.
Just Zeus.
Because we were the legacy lightning.
So like a singular, kind of like a
Just
Stanford Cardinal.
The god Zeus. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You couldn't be like, oh, we're the Zeuses?
No, we're the lightning.
But was it Zeus or lightning?
It was the legacy lightning.
Okay.
But our mascot was Zeus.
All right.
I don't know.
That is so weird. It's better
He
than
threw
Hannah's.
lightning bolts. I mean, you know.
Oh no, yeah. They should have just called it lightning. It's better than Hannah's high school. That was the Lexington Minutemen. That would suck. And they
the
had
Minutemen were like
the Patriots.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
did that, but they literally used the exact same logo as the Patriots.
Oh.
Yeah, so,
All right, we got to call Ben. Here we go. We forgot to give him our number, so we're probably going to go right to voicemail here.
I wouldn't answer.
Me either.
Hello.
Ben,
Hey, what's up, fellas?
what is going on, man? We've got Ben Garcia of Locked On Suns joining us right now. I am Chris Zane. You got
I'm Chad Lee, man. What's up?
Hey, man. Yeah, you know, I did a little bit of scouting, and I saw last time when you guys called someone, and I'm like, oh, my goodness. They're just calling dudes on the fly, and I was like, okay, I'll be ready when they call. But, listen, that's great. I can't do that. Well, I probably could, but I have no idea how to do that with my podcast stuff. But
yeah. You know, we
good.
figured
I'm sure you,
we figured this
How
out.
does
We're
it
just
make for
rolling with
great-
it.
Google Voice, man. Google Voice. It works.
well, one of these days I'll figure it out. Listen,
Yeah,
I
we're-
do all
we're-
the other. Just another technical thing to add to my resume.
Exactly. We're going to do the Zoom stuff soon, but we figured, you know what, if we're going to be getting people on first and foremost, we should probably make it, you know, you don't have to get all gussied up.
Yeah.
We can just call you,
Yeah.
and it's a little bit easier.
You know what's
so.
crazy is I'm headed to the Suns game right now, so I'm all, you know.
You are gussied up.
really cute. Oh, I'm really cute looking right now. I think I missed the chance.
Dressed to the nines. as
Well,
they say.
I did a little research on you guys too. I was listening to a few of you guys' podcasts today, and it's pretty badass, dude. I mean, you're probably showing up with your credential tag, huh?
To the Suns game? Oh yeah, I'll pick up my credential, go in. I was just in New Orleans all last week,
Yep.
doing some NFL stuff. Like, oh yeah, man.
We don't need
It's
to talk about that.
It's been crazy.
I'm
What was
a
that?
Chiefs fan here.
Yeah, he's still
Oh man.
still reeling.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, poor you. Only 2 championships in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Cry
feel
me a
really bad
river,
for him.
man.
Yeah. I'm just crying
Yeah,
over here.
cry me a river. I am an all Arizona sports fan. I'm 26 years old and I've never seen any championship.
I feel bad,
If
man.
my
I know
team,
it.
if the Suns, just to keep it on the Suns, if the Suns win the next 2 championships, but I have to promise you in the third one, they get swept and lose by 80 each game, I'll take it.
Yep.
Yeah, you got it.
Exactly where I'm at, man. I hear you. Well, dude, it's super badass that you are a licensed credential reporter for the Suns. I mean, do you get in there in the press conference and that press room afterwards and everything too?
Yeah, so I can. So me and my co-host Brendan Clean, who he told me you guys reached out to him as well.
Mm-hmm.
He does. We kind of split up into twos. After the games, I'm going to be honest with you, I have no interest in going into press conferences. I didn't go to one. I went to opening night in New Orleans, but I just don't have any interest to ask any questions because the issue is when you ask a question, it's free game for anyone. So if I go in and piss off Kevin Durant because I question his leadership, everyone gets to use the soundbite, and Kevin Durant gets to be pissed off at only me.
Yeah.
So I'm not a huge fan of the pressers. If I get guys one-on-one, of course I'll loft up questions, and that's what I did pretty much the entire time in New Orleans, which was fun. But, you know, getting the scoop on another sport, that being one Kyler Murray, some call him Patrick Mahomes' counterpart. But so yeah, I do all that. I can, but I usually don't. And it makes it easier for me to critique players. I don't have any interest in being buddy-buddy with them, and I don't care if they dislike me, and
I can
I
respect
don't
that.
dislike them. But yeah, no, I want to be able to freely critique teams without saying, well, Kevin gave me a really nice hug. So
Well, I don't blame you,
that's
man,
kinda how
'cause
I feel.
It's probably you probably would have to walk around in eggshells with Kevin Durant. That guy is super sensitive.
You should. Yeah, he's definitely got some rabbit ears. Sorry, guys. Give me half a second.
No,
go ahead, man.
4 seconds. I'm sorry, fellas. I am parking for the Suns game.
You're good,
But
man.
you
Where is it?
You can't just drive right in front of someone that's making sure you're a credentialed media member, because that'd be dangerous. So I have to roll it down.
You got to be
Show
safe
my
out there,
face.
man.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't want to get tackled like
Exactly, out
Travis
here.
Scott the other day.
Yeah, that'll happen.
How do you listen? If it happens, I'm gonna be a very rich man.
Yeah.
Someone's getting sued. Well, I mean, speaking a lot about Kevin Durant, after all the trade stuff happens, or lack thereof for that matter, there has been a lot of reports going around that things have gotten a little, I guess, cancerous, so to speak, in the locker room. What do you think the truth behind that is, and how bad is it, or is it all just kind of being blown out of proportion?
Well, I think of it like this. We talked about this last night on Locked On Suns, and I talked about it this morning on my show, the Ben Garcia show, that I stream every day on YouTube in the mornings. And I tend to not side with Kevin Durant on a lot of things, because I think he's got sometimes a skewed idea of some of this stuff. But what is a cancerous locker room? Is it just a locker room that loses games? Because if that's the case, then I guess the Hornets locker room is really cancerous, and so is the Wizards, and so is the 76ers. That's got to be cancerous too,
Yeah.
right? So, for me, I think it's nonsense. I don't think, and I have a lot of issues with this team. I don't think that they actively dislike each other. I don't think Bradley Beal dislikes Devin Booker. Maybe he's got his feelings hurt a little bit because Kevin Durant and Devin Booker recruited him to come to the Suns, and then at the end of the day, he they were trying to get Jimmy Butler here, and it didn't work out. But that's business at the end of the day, and it's easy to say that. But no, I don't think. I think it's kind of nonsense to say it's cancerous. What I think is cancerous is Draymond Green punching Jordan Poole in the face. That's cancerous.
Yeah,
Or,
that's a tough one to get around.
Or Jordan punching Steve Kerr in the face years ago.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff is cancerous. Or Robert Sarver, allegedly, or maybe not so allegedly after reports, but being racist and, going after people and sexist, and that's what forced him to sell the team. That kind of stuff to me seems toxic. I don't think losing games just contributes to toxicity. Do I think it's a fun locker room? No. And I'm not in a lot of those locker rooms oftentimes. It's very similar to scrums, and it's very similar to press conferences, and I let my colleague handle that most of the time. But, yeah, no, if I was just being honest with you guys, I do think in the media you do try to drum up stories, and I don't get upset about that. I don't get upset with clickbait. That is literally our job, is to get people to read and watch our stories. And Ramona Shelburne, I think, embellished a little bit about how toxic the Suns locker room is.
No, I wouldn't doubt it. When you got that kind of story, she can boost up her name a little bit if something like that comes out. And I believe, I don't remember verbatim what KD said, but it was basically just kind of he just kind of put out the fire, just saying it's, we're all good, right?
Yeah, I agree with Durant, where basically he had said, not only you have what is a cancerous locker room, but more so, how do you know? She's not in the locker rooms every game. She's not in it with those players. Now, if a secret player last year whose name rhymed with Schmerich Schmorden and may or may not still play with the 76ers, those kind of guys, at the end of the season, I'm sure it was a little toxic, that Athletic article that came out after the Suns were swept by the Timberwolves last year. But no, I don't think it's a toxic locker room. I think it's largely overblown because it's easy to say that they're toxic because they're terrible. So I think that's really all there is to it. I think Kevin Durant was right. How am I supposed to know if the locker room's toxic? I can have a hunch, but I don't really know.
Right.
He doesn't seem like the guy that would be very forthcoming with the information if he did have it. So,
it's kind of interesting because I do think Kevin Durant is very candid and very honest. It's one of the things I like about Kevin is he's very honest. He's going to tell you exactly what he thinks. And I'm okay with all that. Like, it's the Aaron Rodgers syndrome where both guys are going to tell you exactly what they think. And I enjoy that because I don't like being lied to. But it just seems like a lot of it's kind of overblown. I think the team at the end of the day just sucks. I think that's all it is.
It's crazy too, because I was just telling Chris here before the podcast, like, well, and you guys had said it on one of your most recent ones. I think it was 2 episodes ago. Like, if they only make the play in this year, do you consider that a failure for the season? I mean, you got Devin Booker, you got Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant. I mean, you would expect a little higher results than that.
Oh yeah, the season's already a failure.
Yep.
Like, I am very. I don't think I'm your typical journalist, broadcaster, whatever. I'm very honest. I call it as I see it. Some people like it. Some people dislike it. That's why I really like the balance with me and Brendan on our show. But it's already a failure of a season. And I think of it like this. Like, I don't like to just rag on the Suns because the worse that they do, the worse I do, both monetarily and in a career space.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's already a massive failure. This team could win their next 35 games in a row, go to the playoffs, be the 3 seed, because even then they probably still would be a 1 or 2 seed.
Probably not with Oklahoma City.
Exactly, be a 3, be a 4 seed. And I still think that they would lose fairly early because they don't play any defense, which is strange because last year they did. And it's a better cast of players. They have no game plan. I mean, it's bizarre, man. I know you guys aren't following it every night, but I mean, they signed Tyus Jones, which I was for, but I didn't think a point guard was their biggest issue. They don't run the game plan through him, and he's largely became irrelevant. Suns fans don't even like Tyus Jones anymore. So it's just come to the point where it's just you're just kind of waiting for the season to end and what may come in the off season.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds kind of like some people are saying Kevin Durant's probably going to leave. But that was the strange thing about this. I mean, they put these 3 guys together, and it just seems like they really had no plan for how they were going to play together. And it's kind of like a 3-headed snake going in all different directions. All 3 of the guys would probably prefer to take the ball down the court and kind of be the guy that the offense runs through, so to speak. But yeah, it's crazy how it just has not gelled at all.
Yeah, it's a good point. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, like, what drives me crazy is revisionist history. And at the time, I can admit when I'm wrong. I don't think there's any failure in being wrong. I think that just sports, you give a big take, and sometimes you're wrong, sometimes you're right. I'm not paralyzed by either one, and I was wrong about Bradley Beal. The Suns signed Bradley Beal, and I was like, oh, yeah, this team is definitely winning the championship. And then they haven't won a singular playoff game, much less a championship. They haven't won one playoff game. Yeah. And so it's to the point where I'm like, okay, it was wrong. And it was right in front of me why it was so wrong, and I don't think it's the defensive issue, and I don't think it's the depth issue. I think it's more than that. And I spoke with Nick Wright about this in New Orleans. I did an interview with him, and him and I chopped it up about it, and he said the same thing I did, which is Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are facsimiles of each other. Mm-hmm. They're the same player. And then you add a Bradley Beal to that doesn't necessarily help anything. He's just a worse version. I mean, still a great player. Yeah. A worse version of those 2. So you're like, okay, that's not good. We didn't fill any of our holes around it. It was right in front of our faces, but we just missed it because we were so happy to get rid of Landry Shamet and Chris Paul at the time, who I like, but he just ran his course. And it was like, at the time, it was second-round picks, Landry Shamet and Chris Paul for Bradley Beal. And you're like, the Suns fleeced this team. And then you're like, oh, well, it looks like the Wizards came out on top because they don't have to pay him anymore.
Yeah.
I think they're still trying to get something going, but maybe winning 12 or 14 games this year. I don't know what they're at, but at the rate they're going,
I'm not too worried about the pick swap.
That's for sure. Well, how about this? I mean, Bolton Hauser won a championship with Milwaukee, and he really hasn't done anything with the Suns. Do you put any of the blame on him?
No, I'm so past blaming coaches.
Yeah.
We blame Monty Williams. We blame Frank Vogel. What are you? Am I going to blame Budenholzer now? Like, Vogel won a championship in 2020, bubble or not, whatever. He won a championship. Monty Williams went to a championship, and Budenholzer beat Monty Williams in the championship. Like, I'm so over blaming coaches. And there's, the idea of blaming ownership or blaming general managers. I've more so shifted to blaming the players a lot more than anything, because this team's good. Like, it's a good collection of talent, and they just can't play together. And I think a lot of it has to do with, at times, their want to. So, I mean, there's other issues, but I do think a lot of it needs to land on the players, because I'm so over blaming coaches.
That's a good approach.
Yeah, I mean, and you can't, like you said, you can't really knock the front office. They've tried bringing in all these players, and it just hasn't worked.
Don't tell Suns fans that, because they are ready to have Matt Ishbia's head on a platter. But that's what fans do. They emote.
We see that in Dallas.
And, yeah, well, Dallas is a whole different idea because, like, that's a whole different brand of stupid.
They just kicked out a 12-year-old last night.
That was funny. You know what? I'm all for a little toxicity, and I can't lie, that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, you guys did just trade away Yusuf Nurkic. Do you believe that Nick Richards and Mason Plumlee can kind of fill that starter center role?
Oh, you're being serious.
Oh,
No.
Yes. We had to ask something.
This is the way I explained Nick Richards to Suns fans, which was, I had to eat crow for the first week because he's pretty good. But, he played the Wizards, and the Wizards, pretty sure, are starting my nephew. But Nick Richards, like, Yusuf Nurkic was a flat tire. He was awful. He looked shot in terms of a player. I think he's just washed. Good passer, terrible defender at the rim, and just was really mismanaged. In this offense, he just didn't fit as well. So he is a flat tire. Nick Richards is a spare tire. You compare a spare tire to a flat tire, you're pretty happy. You get to where you need to go. You get to, you're able to go get to your destination. You're not sitting in the middle of nowhere.
Just don't go over
But
55.
At the end of the day, yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, I'd rather have an actual tire and not a spare. And they're temporary for a reason. He's a good player. No issues with Nick Richards. I'll never hold a team accountable because of their backup centers, or a guy who was a backup on the worst team in the NBA or one of the worst teams. So Richards is a good player, but I mean, the Suns need better bigs, and that's really all there is to it.
Yeah, Mason Plumlee isn't doing it. I saw a funny video the other day because I do follow the Suns a little bit. I'm actually kind of a KD fan. I actually have some Nike KDs sitting behind me right now. But there was a funny video.
He doesn't love us. I'll tell you that.
No, and that's just, he really is one of those
Doesn't
players
love
where
us.
I've always been a fan of his, just ever since I remember watching his freshman year at Texas and followed him ever since. That's kind of just where that goes back from. But I had a great reaction to Mason Plumlee about like a week ago where Mason Plumlee tried going behind the back, turned the ball over, and KD just looks at him like, you could see him mouth the words, "What are you fucking doing?"
Yeah, man. He makes it abundantly clear at times, man. Abundantly clear of how he feels about certain players.
Yeah, and I mean, Mason Plumlee maybe shouldn't be trying to pull AI like Allen Iverson moves and stuff like that. But man, I do feel for you, man. You really don't have, especially with Nurkic gone, a good answer there at the center role. It's gonna be tough. I mean, like you said, you're sitting at an even Steven 26-26 right now. How do you feel about the Grizzlies tonight? I don't think they're starting John Morant, are they?
They're playing. Well, last time I checked, maybe a new injury report came out. Everyone should be available.
Okay.
Which spells doomsday for the Suns, because I was here on New Year's Eve where the Grizzlies were rolling out their C team, and the Suns got pulverized. So probably not great, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'll be doing a post-game show like I do by myself this time. My guy's taking the night off, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, there you go, man. All you can be is optimistic about it. You guys are at home, so there's that.
Hey, yeah, it's better than being in Tennessee.
That's true. It's prime time,
Yep.
TNT.
Yeah, right.
Did you enjoy your? We could circle back to just just with like everything going on with the Suns. We don't have to keep like honing in on that. Let's. How was your time in New Orleans? Did you enjoy covering that?
I am so tired that I'm still tired from it.
I bet so.
I slept maybe 15 hours the whole week.
Wow.
Maybe
Damn.
ate 6 meals. But it was fun,
Running
man.
on fumes.
It was fun, man. Getting to chop it up with guys like, Colin Coward and Danny Parkins and Nick Wright and my guy
crazy.
Jason McIntyre, who I do a lot of work with.
That's awesome, man. Did you
you
get to
know-
talk to Jameis Winston?
I did not.
Dang,
I did see Jameis. But
No,
I did not,
it's cool,
I, did
man.
I think
not go
everybody
out my
saw
way.
Jameis down there. He was all over.
Yeah, and I did see. I mean, he was everywhere, but Radio Row was busy. Went to a really good party that was hosted by Colin Coward and his company that Wednesday before.
Sweet.
It was wild, man. I'd never been to New Orleans. I'd never been to Bourbon Street, and I think I'm all New Orleans out for a while.
I could see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. That was your first time doing the Super Bowl stuff?
Third time.
Third, oh.
I say second time. Well, I say second time because I forget that it was in Phoenix and I just didn't have to travel 3 years ago. So
yeah.
it's technically my third time. So we
Nice.
had Phoenix, and then I went to Vegas last year, and then this year it'll be New Orleans, or it was New Orleans. Next year it'll be the Bay, and I'll probably feel exactly how I feel this time next year.
I bet
Yeah.
so.
Probably
Probably lots of
be
good
all
memories,
San
though.
Francisco's out.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's a good time. It's a good time, but it took a while to get to this point.
I bet, man.
We're still climbing.
Yeah, well, keep up the good work, man. We are hoping to be there one day, and we are slowly chipping away.
That's right.
Yeah, bit by bit. But
Keep at it, man. Keep at it, man.
we're going to, man. Well, we don't want to keep you too much longer because I know you've got work to do tonight. You've got important things to do. If you could just give everybody a quick shout out where they can find you, and then we'll let you get on out of here, man. We greatly appreciate your time.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, you can find me on any social media platform, including YouTube, at Ben Garcia Show. And you could also follow, if you're a Suns fan, you want more content, Locked On Phoenix Suns. Find us wherever you get your podcasts or as well on YouTube. And, yeah, man, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, of course, man. Now that it's basketball season and, the Suns and Nuggets are in their West, obviously we didn't even talk about, but we are Nuggets fans.
Yep.
Maybe we could circle back, after they've played and kind of preview a game or something like that, if you don't mind hopping back on later in the future.
Yeah, fellas, you guys just let me know.
Awesome,
Will do, man. Thanks again.
Yes, thanks, Ben. Have a great night,
Yeah,
man.
Yes, sir.
But he had things to do. He's
Yes,
on.
indeed.
He's got to go hit
That's
the beat.
pretty cool, man.
Yeah, that's
Talk to
pretty
Nick
cool.
Wright and all those guys down there.
All them people.
Boy, Nick Wright got embarrassed
I
yesterday.
was gonna bring that up and I forgot. Yeah, I saw they
that was
like
funny.
tortured him the whole.
I think
show.
that's what's fun about his whole thing is it's almost like wrestling where it's like he has this whole big persona, and if something like that happens, that's what makes good marketing and good ratings is when they can embarrass him.
Yeah. Well, if you're gonna dish it out,
Yeah,
you
you
gotta be able to take it.
Exactly.
So.
Yep, it is what it is.
All right, we're doing something different this month. I don't know exactly what we're doing, but I'm featuring a band that I like called the Southern River Band. We'll see what happens with this. The name of this song is Second Best. You can find all their stuff at thesouthernriverband.com. They are out of Australia, so they'll give you a good g'day, mate. But anyway, the name of this song is Second Best, and it goes something like this.
Never been much good at second
And we are back. You just heard the Southern River Band. Southern River Band. The name of that song is Second Best off of their most recent album out this year called DIY. Do it yourself, damn it. Make sure to go give them a like, follow on all things streaming. And if you want to find out more about them, go to thesouthernriverband.com. Now we got to get into our...
You want to finish the NBA?
Sponsor.
Oh, you're right. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh,
SDO Collectibles. We are brought to you by SDO Collectibles each and every week. They are your go-to source for all things collectible, from Funko Pops all the way to sports collectibles. They also have an eBay store that is up and running. They did just have a card show this weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know how it went. Did you
Oh,
hear?
yeah, Dan said it went really well.
All
They had a
right.
lot of sales, and the place was packed, I guess. He said one of his friends told him that there were like close to 10,000 people that had gone through there
doors?
from like
Wow.
Friday to through Sunday, I think.
That's pretty wild. That's a
Yeah.
lot of people. So,
Quite
yeah.
a bit.
That event was popping. We are probably going to be at one in March, correct?
Yeah.
I think that was when it was.
Mm-hmm.
March. So
March
yeah,
22nd.
we're going to be out there doing the live show. Excuse me. And we'll be doing that from the floor there, and maybe we'll get to talk to some cool people.
Yeah, that'd be
And
awesome.
we'll get to interview famous sports athletes. They'll come sit down with us.
Who's going to be there? Yeah. But yeah, go
anyways,
check out their stuff on eBay and all their socials. They're getting and opening up new card boxes every day.
yeah, they're doing the pack openings and all that stuff. So make sure to check them out. Follow them on all things social media at SDO Collectibles. Let us get into the NBA.
Right side to Scott. Slam dunk. 4 seconds. 3 seconds left. Why are they not fouling? Jumper Murray. Denver bounce.
Well, Luka has now played for the Lakers.
Yep, he made his debut last night.
Yes, he did. How did it go, Chad?
He went 14, 5, and 4. He had a pretty cool Dirk Nowitzki kind of homage shot too.
The leg
Fade
out,
away off
fade
of
out.
on one leg. Yep, that's pretty amazing.
Did you hear about LeBron let him be announced last? He
Yeah.
called him and asked him, when would you like to be announced? And he said, I think this time I'd like to come out last.
Yep. And then he said, going forward, then we could just do it normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just funny though. LeBron has to be like, I'll let you do it if you want to. Where do you want to be announced?
I know. It's like,
like, this
how
isn't
do
your
you
team
have
anymore,
control
LeBron.
of that?
Dude,
Like,
it's
what
not
are
your
you
team
talking
anymore.
about,
It's
man?
Luka's team.
Yeah, LeBron did have 24 points, but I mean, you know, it was kind of like clouded in their win over the Jazz, that are a horrible team. So we'll see what happens when they go up against a good team like the Nuggets.
Yes, and they did get a center after the Mark Williams trade was rescinded due to him failing his physical. Right now, currently, the Charlotte is right? Is trying to basically fight that, but they signed Andrew Lynn today.
I think it's Alex Wynn.
Alex Lynn. Oh,
Yep,
damn
maybe
it!
I'm wrong though.
Oh, damn it! It is Alex Lynn. You are correct. Alex Lynn. He is from Ukraine.
Oh wow,
Ukraine. Ukraine.
Is it not Ukraine? Okay,
It
I was like,
could
is
not
there
be
another
anymore.
country? I didn't
We
know.
don't know yet. So yes, he is from Ukraine. It says Ukrainian, and I just went with
Nice.
Ukrainia. So yes, he is from Ukraine. He was formerly with the Suns, but yes, now he is the center that's supposed to stop Jokic. We'll see how well that works.
Good luck.
But in other news, on the other side of that trade, Anthony Davis,
Yeah,
hip
man.
abductor.
Dude, he going up 20 in his first game with the Mavs. He puts up 24 points in the first half, and I'm like, oh, maybe my take might kind of pan out.
Yeah.
First play back after the half hurts his abductor strain.
Yep,
hurts his
left
tummy,
adductor strain.
and it's gonna be out multiple weeks.
Yeah, I heard it could be a month, but with the All-Star game, you know, it's probably only going to be in like 2 weeks of the actual season that he's going
Yeah.
to miss. But yeah, that's a definite bummer after how well he's done the last couple of years.
Dude, and
with
they lost
starting.
a nail biter last night. I don't know if you were following that Kings and Mavs game last night, but I had a 3-leg parlay for like the Cavs to win, another team, and then also the Kings. And dude, it went down to the wire, went into overtime. DeMar DeRozan hit a game winner with like 1 second left. It was epic, man. I love it.
Yeah, well, let's see how well they play the rest of the year with everything now. We'll be interested to see where the Mavs end up with everything after it's all said and done. So
that's true.
the Toronto Raptors have signed, well, I guess agreed to a 3-year extension worth $120 million with Brandon Ingram, which includes a player option in 27-28. He was traded to New Orleans last week, and now they give him a big extension. So we'll see how that works for them, with him having not played there yet. So
Yes, indeed.
yeah. We all know about giving people a bunch of money before they play, a la Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
So maybe watch him play a little bit before you give him a whole bunch of millions.
I know,
of
and
dollars.
it's crazy because like Brandon Ingram like never really took the Pelicans to the next level. I was like, what are they thinking?
I mean, he was one of their better players.
Oh, no doubt, but it's not like he was like a
Yeah.
total game changer.
So yeah.
All right, so now that we've pretty much reached, by the time next episode comes out, it'll be at the All-Star break. So we will go over pretty much the standings going into the All-Star break. So I'll take the Eastern Conference. The Cleveland Cavaliers still at the top at 43-10. Then the Boston Celtics at 38-16. New York Knicks, 3rd seed at 34-18. Then the Pacers just keep climbing up. Wow, 29-22. Milwaukee Bucks at 28-24. They are 3-7 in their last 10 games. There is not.
They've got issues.
Yeah, Giannis is hurt though. I did forget. And now look at this: the Pistons and Cade Cunningham have moved into the 6th spot at 27-26.
Yeah, the Pistons, who have been floundering around the bottom of the league for the last few years, are crawling to the top. Well, let's get into the Western Conference. The Oklahoma City Thunder just keep winning at an incredible rate, 43-9. They are 8-2 in their last 10 games. The Memphis Grizzlies are in second at 35-17. In third place, we have the Denver Nuggets at 35-19, and the Los Angeles Lakers in fourth, 32-19. That's scary. They passed the Rockets finally, and the Rockets are in fifth at 33-20 losses. And then the Clippers at 29 wins, 23 losses, rounding out the top 6 there.
Yes, indeed.
So that wraps up the NBA. Let's get it on a little bit here, real quick, as we break down UFC.
Mills Lane. Over the weekend, we had UFC 312 in Australia. And we had for the main event, Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland. And I did pick Dricus to win. He was the heavy favorite, so it wasn't too much of a risky pick there. And it paid off. Dude pitched a shutout. 5 rounds, 5 1-rounds for Dricus. Here's kind of the stats from him, man. He had 149 total strikes, landed 147 significant strikes, 50 to the head, 45 to the body, and then 52 to the legs. Then he had 1 takedown. He also broke Sean's nose.
Yeah, a couple times actually. We were talking about that in the break. When it happened, you like see it and you're like, oh wow, his nose is sideways, and then you see him grab it and set it, and then they kind of locked up again, and I guess Dricus's head hit his nose and rebroke it after he set it. So, and then he just rained blood for like it was a Slayer song, just raining blood,
just blood everywhere. Sean, it was a brutal fight, but Sean didn't really have any answer. And did you see Sean's coach come out and really criticize him afterwards? I don't know if you saw this.
I did, and I think I know what you're going to talk about. I didn't realize that was his coach, basically saying like, if you're going to just do this for money, then you're wasting our time. Wow, yeah, I didn't realize that was his coach.
Yeah. So Sean's coach, that's been the same coach for a long time, maybe since his start, said, basically that. He was like, if he needs to be honest with me, if he's just going to do this and earn money, then we need to have a conversation, because I only want to coach people that are trying to get championships. It's like, damn, dude. Yeah, because, Sean knew, he was down 3 rounds, 0-3, and it wasn't trying to do much more. Because that nose break, and we should clarify, it didn't happen to the 4th round.
Yeah, they were trying to like get him to just show even any bit of emotion in the corner, and it's just like he was just like, whatever, man.
It's pretty great, because Chris and I both do not like that guy.
He's not my most favorite dude in the world, so it was kind of fun. That is the one nice thing about UFC. Whenever there's somebody you really hate, sometimes you get to see him get beat up.
That was Dana White's perfect response to Bryce Mitchell's insane podcast. You know,
yeah.
he was like, that's what's great about the UFC. If people hate him, he was like, everybody knows I support free speech, which is, that is true. And he was like, so if people hate him, they get a chance to possibly see him get his ass kicked in an octagon. So
that's a good way to put it,
The co-main event, there's not much to talk about. Zhang Wei Li totally dominated.
She really did. There was like maybe 30 seconds right when the fight started where I was like, oh, Tatiana's kind of showing her some stuff. And then all of a sudden that was it.
Did you watch the full card or just those last two?
I watched the last two mainly, but I had it on my computer. There was one prelim fight, two littler dudes. I want to say they're strawweights or something, man, but they went to war. It was awesome. I was trying to figure out who it was. I meant to write down their names, but it was one hell of a fight. That one was pretty good. Other than that, though,
dude, look at these stats though from it, man. 232 total strikes from Wei Li. I mean, she just threw a lot, which is awesome because if the other fighter's not going to do much, that's what you got to do, show effort. But she landed 53 out of those 232. But then she had 10 minutes of ground control time, and then she did have a submission attempt. But yeah, hats off to her. I mean, she just continues her dominance, and it's going to be tough for anybody to fear because Suarez was undefeated going to that at 11-0,
and she was favored. So
yeah. And dude, I hit $55 on a parlay for that one.
Oh, did you?
I picked her. I think it was this to share. No, it was Jake Matthews. I picked Jake Matthews, Wei Li, who was the underdog, and then I picked Dreykus to win and made $55 out of a $10 bet.
Nice.
Cha-ching.
Parlay.
Oh, yeah.
Parlaying it.
Well, I think it's that time. The man is calling.
Yes, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. John Daly. He's about to grip it, rip it, and hit it hard, man.
Daily.
Whoops. Hit it hard, man.
I hit it hard, man.
I need to move that one. Son of a... Ain't afraid of nothing.
Are you able to find that clip that I've got on there?
I've got it.
Perfect, because that's what I included in the notes, because that last time when I played that clip, that Daily Dog one or something, it did not sound too good for the mic. So I was like, let's do it.
I tried
the right
to adjust it, so
yeah,
I didn't do too much.
It was kind of ghetto.
But yes, this week we are featuring, it's kind of Josh Allen a little bit, but it's mainly featuring Slick Rick, who runs the mailroom for the Bills, who got a shout out from Josh Allen during his MVP speech. So we're going to listen to Slick Rick break it down.
Did you know you were going to get a shout out? And
no.
So you're just sitting there watching, or how?
Just watching, because like I said, when I left work Thursday, I said, if Josh doesn't get MVP, I'm going to cry. I said, I'm going to cry because he deserves it. I mean, he's that important to our team. So basically, when I was watching the awards, when he went on stage, everything, I was happy that he had won it, and it went from joyful to crying because when he mentioned my name, I just broke down. I broke down because I'm just an average person. I mean, but when he mentioned my name, it was like, oh my God, he just mentioned my name on national television, So it was like, I was just crying. I was crying. Then I started getting phone calls from friends, and I was crying on the phone to them. It's still like a dream. Even though I work here, but I don't like this publicity. I don't. I'm just down to earth.
Did you know?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, he just seems like a down to earth dude whose life just kind of got changed, like flipped upside down, so to speak, by Josh Allen mentioning him at the NFL Honors Awards, and as you can tell, it still gets him very emotional. I mean, that had to be quite surprising to be sitting there watching it and then hear your name called out.
Not a lot of people realize, when it comes to an NFL team, there are thousands and thousands of employees, where equipment managers, I've noticed we both follow the field managers for the Arrowhead Stadium and Broncos, because
trying to get them on.
I admire, I was too. I admire what those guys are able to do. I mean, it is like
these guys are
intense
went
work.
To college, man.
I know. And, for Josh Allen to do something like that, I think that is so noble to mention, because he did, I can't remember exactly his words, but it was basically, it takes everybody. And, so a little bit about Slick Rick, he lives in Buffalo and then takes a bus all the way to Orchard Park every day. And for Josh Allen to give him a shout out, that's really awesome because it does take everybody, concession stand workers, field managers,
Yep.
you name it.
Yep. It takes all of them. Takes a village, so to speak. You know,
That person that's holding the water when
Yeah.
they're in the huddle.
the water boys,
everybody.
the water girls, everyone. There was also another cool thing. I don't know if you saw this after he got the award. They showed him a video of all the children's hospital
really
kids.
cool.
Yeah, and he got all choked up. It was
He's a
basically-
good dude, man.
He is a good dude. I feel bad for him. You know, I realize I think one of the reasons why that dude's got it so rough is because he has that entire city like weighing on his shoulders with all those Super Bowl losses, and like they're like, "You're the one, man. Get us out of this hole."
Yeah, but then when you look at his
You can't.
fiance, I don't feel too bad.
You know, he's
man.
yeah,
she is.
Things could be worse.
Smoking.
Yeah, things
Yep.
could be worse for him, but that is the one thing where I'm like, that's got to be rough. Like that whole city is just like, you got to do it, man. Like everywhere you go, they're like, you can do it, Josh. Next year, man, we're gonna make
It's
it.
gotta be tough.
We're gonna win.
But, yeah, it's. Yep, they're going to be in it. There's a good I saw there's a chance that Max Crosby could be traded to the Bills too. So
Yeah, that would be pretty
that
wild.
would be nasty.
Yeah, I heard him come out and say something about he didn't want to go to the Chiefs to try and win a Super Bowl or something like that.
I wouldn't blame him. You know, it's just like,
yeah,
you
he's
know,
like, I don't want to be traded there to go try and win. So I was like, I guess that's kind of noble. And
that's still loyal.
don't go join the winners.
Go to the
you know?
NFC.
Yeah,
Just go to the NFC. I'm tired of playing against them. The
It's
Condor.
okay.
What a weird nickname, dude. He's got such a big wingspan.
He does.
Yeah. All right, back to it. Hats off to
Yes, Slick Rick.
for being a great employee, and hats off to Josh Allen for recognizing somebody like that. You guys get the DDOE, and we really want to thank you guys for tuning in to episode 119.
Yes, and next week I will be eating the gummy bear.
Oh,
it's in
wow.
my possession. I forgot to bring it. I was going to show you guys. I do have the gummy
How
bear.
big is it?
It's a gummy bear, dude.
It's pretty good size, though.
It's this big.
It's
like-
bigger than an average size gummy
I
bear.
feel like that's an average size gummy bear.
Oh, you're
right
doing
there.
like the in between. I thought you
Oh
meant like
no,
in between, like,
I was
right
doing
there.
like this.
Okay.
So it's like an average size gummy bear.
Jesus, it's all packed in just a tiny little gummy bear like that.
9 million Scoville units.
right,
So that'll be next week. That's probably gonna suck. But it'll be fun and it'll be good content. So we appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. As always, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow us on all things social media.
Hit that bell.
Yes, ring that bell. Subscribe, damn it, and tell a friend or two, please.
Next week, we're having on Alex Beal. We're going to break down some NBA talk.
NBA. Yay.
Farewell, y'all.
Fare thee well. Love you, buddy.
Love you,
See you
bud.
next week. Toodles.